we are going to kind of get this show on the road here. And I'm going to, I just want to go over kind of what's going on. Um, and just kind of do a little bit of review stuff and then just let you go. So for those of you that don't know, we're all here right now and we are supposed to be working on, let me share my screen. Okay. So let me bring this up. Okay. So actually what we should be doing is wrapping up our fantasy portrait or our surreal portrait it's called. Okay. So I'll show you that again real quick. Intro to Photoshop. And this is what we got going on right now. Let me just set this up real quick. Open up the chat. And all my participants. Okay. And all right. So if you take a look here, this is what we have been working on. It's a surreal fantasy portrait. Everybody should be working on this right now as we will be starting a new project sometime next week, probably not right on Monday, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. You know, really, like I said, these next few weeks, we really have about a month to go, which is pretty crazy. So in these next 4 weeks,
it doesn't even feel like May. It feels like April or something.
You're right. It's totally crazy. Our tech school graduation for seniors is May 22nd. It's like 3 weeks from now, which is crazy. So it is definitely going to go quick. So what I'm trying to do now is just get things lined up for next year and, you know, give a few manageable projects and things to work on between now and
hopefully this whole COVID thing will go down so some people can come in the classroom.
Well, everything looks good. I'll tell you what, in May, actually May 31st, they're lifting almost all the restrictions in Pennsylvania, like, you know, 6 feet. You know, you can't sit at a bar at a restaurant or you can't sit close together. So they're talking about that going away. And once the vaccination rate in Pennsylvania hits 70%, being 70% of the people in Pennsylvania are vaccinated, there are no more masks. So I would be surprised if we didn't start in the fall with no restrictions, no masks, no nothing, which would be awesome because I am sick and tired of wearing this thing.
It's so hard to breathe, especially with glasses. It's like they smoke up your glasses and it's so annoying.
You are singing to the choir. And you know what? When it's really hot out, it's just nasty. So yeah, hopefully it's going to get better. But yes, we'll be ready and hanging out in the fall and doing fun stuff. So like I said, I'll probably give, you know, a couple little more projects between now and the end of the year and then give out opportunities for many of the students that haven't completed all their projects yet. There's a very few of you that have actually done everything. So at least you'll have some time to go in and finish. I'm going to start contacting students as early as next week to send out failure notices or, you know, here's your grade. This is what you need to get done if you want to get a better grade. So please get it done. So I'll be sending out those notices and things like that. Most of you that are on here right now are all pretty good. So you should be fine. Actually, I have a couple more students jumping in real quick. All right, Jordan's here. Jose is dropping in just to say hello. Okay, so kind of continuing off what I was just talking about for those of you that just popped in, we are working on the surreal portrait. So I want to kind of just get right down to it and give you an overview of Photoshop. So feel free when I'm showing you this to ask any questions that you need. Now, I'll be honest, everything I'm about to show you is covered at the bottom right down here, Adobe Photoshop Surreal Portrait Tutorial Playlist. So if you click on that, it is going to take you here, 5 minutes each video. Okay, some are a little bit longer, but this will show you from the beginning into the end on how to get this project done. But as usual, I like to do a hands-on just to show you what's going on. There's some great tutorials here in Photoshop, okay, and project tips and tricks. But as I said, I can make all this stuff in the world. But if you don't look at it, it's, you know, that's where you're going to struggle and have problems. especially with following instructions. Pink is for following instructions, okay? That tells you everything you need and for the specific requirements. We totally work in an industry where attention to detail is extremely important. So to not be able to follow instructions, that's a big deal. So I'm trying to get everybody in the habit, especially when you're in person next year, to be able to follow attention to detail, because that's something you can control. You know, you may not be able to control the weather or, you know, when you take a photo shoot, but you can control whether your computer's working, your camera battery's charged, everything's good to go. So what I've given you under the instructions, this is stuff you can control. You can control whether or not you take enough photos for the assignment, whether it's the right size. So a lot of my students actually trip up because they misspell or do it the wrong size. So you know, I have students hand out A-level work and they're getting B's and C's because they're just not following instructions. So, you know, just be mindful that you're paying attention to what's kind of going on here. So let's kind of dive right in if there's no questions. If you have a question, let me know, raise your hand, blah, 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 blah. The exploratory, we'll go over that one more time. It's a piece of cake. It's the color green. Okay, here you go. Could be nature, stuff in your house, products, clothing, makeup, doesn't matter, food. Just take a cool collage of the color green, okay? So you get to do that. Easy project to do too. Last but not least, you can always go into Schoology and work on those frame modules. There's a couple left. Not all of you may have finished them, but there are 4 folders, 1.1, 1.2, 2.1, and 2.2. These are easy things to do to raise your grade and get everything going. Please make sure as a student, you go in, let's pretend I am Stefan. Please make sure you go in, click over here under grades, and this will give you your most current grade. He's killing it. He's got a 96. And you can see all these greens are all the things that he's handed in, okay? So anything with a dash is something you have not completed. So I have a lot of students right now freaking out because they're failing. What do I have to do? Then they have to wait maybe hours or even a day or two for me to get back to them and say, here's a list of what you need to do, when all you need to do is go in Schoology and click on grades, okay? So that's that. So let's kind of dive right in here. I already went in and we'll do this one more time. When you're searching online, okay, for images, you want to make sure that you can find the best quality images possible, okay? So for example, I want to find a picture of a Camaro. Now there's old cars, new cars, I don't care, it doesn't matter. If I wanted to be more specific, I could type in, you know, 1969 red Camaro, okay? This helps you narrow your search because look at, now you have exactly what you want, okay? Instead of just typing in the word Camaro, like here, there's all different kinds, all different colors, ones you don't want to look at. So why bother yourself by having to scroll to find that perfect picture when you can be as specific as possible like this and find exactly what you need. So let's say there's an image on here you like, make sure you go on tools, size, large. Now it will narrow your choices down, but that's okay. You want to have a nice, good quality image. So don't get too attached to any image first until you hit tools, large, okay? Because when you click, we'll click on this one. This is a big image. It's 1920 by 1280. This little number here are the pixels. So you can click on that image. That's a big picture, right? So that's a great picture for you to be able to use if that's what you want. Now, if we go back here, I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you just go, oh man, I really love this picture right here. Look how big it is. See how tiny that picture is? It's not going to look good at all on your final project because it's too small. It's 128 by 128, too tiny. So make sure you find those right images, okay? So I've already done that because when I made the tutorial, I have everything. So of course I made my surreal portrait folder. I'm going to open that up. And here's the pictures that I chose to create my final project. Okay. I'm just going to jump in right now and open up the final piece that I did. And you can see, I just kind of went and just randomly grabbed stuff. I just typed in words, they popped into my head. Now, this could be obviously considered a surreal portrait. It's a clown with a tiger in the back of a truck on the moon, and the moon in the background. Earth is a pizza with goldfish and the Statue of Liberty. So that is hopefully not something you see every day. But it's all about going in and creating these effects and styles and sizing. So why don't we start over here with your tools? Now, you have all these tools here. If you hover over them long enough, it'll tell you what it is. I have that feature turned off, but it's the crop tool. And then you have the patch tool. Anything with a little tiny arrow on there means there's more tools underneath. Okay. You can always go into Photoshop Help and do tools. Okay. And it will show you what all of these tools are. Okay. And you might want to say, what is this tool? What is that tool? What does this do? What does that do? And it'll actually give you an example of what it is and what it's capable of doing. So once I started doing this, and let me start over from the beginning, I have all these individual images. Now, see these eyeballs? When you turn them on and off, it's not deleting it, it's just turning it off so it gets rid of the clutter that you have going on, okay? So when you want to delete something, you click on it and then hit the trash can, okay? But let's just say I don't want to see the Liberty or the Statue of Liberty, I don't want to see the goldfish. So you can turn those individual layers off, on and off with the eyeball, okay? They're still there, you just can't see them, okay? Now, when you're creating, so let's go to, I'm just going to create a new document and pretend we're starting over again. So the first thing I have is this blank document, okay? And I have all these images. Now, what you can do is you can just go drag one over at a time. So here's my truck. Once it's there, you have to see how there's a blue X. You have to double click, and now it's placed. Then you use your move tool, and you could shrink it down, make it bigger, make it smaller. I like to be able to, I just drag everything over at once. I go, I want this, 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 and this and that. So now I have everything. Once I drag them over, watch what happens. I have to go like this, double click, double click, double click, double click, and double click, and double click. So now I have all my images here. Now, some people may say to themselves, oh, it's too confusing. There's too much stuff in here. There's too much going on. Well, turn them off. And let's say, all right, the moon is my background. That's what I'm going to start with. Turn everything else off over here in your layers window. Layers window and your history are two really important things. Same thing up here with your navigator is called. You can zoom in and out with it. And then you can even zoom in close and click on that and drag it around. Okay, so this is a great way to be able to see what's going on in your projects. Whoopsie. So I'm going to really try to fill the frames. Anybody have questions right now? Or are you getting it? Everybody good? Okay, some of you have your cameras turned off, so hopefully you're not asleep. Okay, so there's Diego. He's with us. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. And I want to start to figure out what I want to do. Say, oh, I want to put my rainbow in there. Well, do you notice how my rainbow's in front of the moon? Okay. So how could you do that? I'm going to turn my pizza on, but I can't see it. It's big and it's in front of, or it's behind the rainbow. All you have to do is if you look over here, you click on pizza and you can move the layers around. Okay. Same thing down here. Now the moon's gone. Now it's here. Now it's up top. And you can juggle your pictures around to put them where they need to go. Okay. So once you figure out the placement, you can start to stack them. Okay. Then you want to go in and start to trace things out. You want to outline them. Okay. Now I have Let's turn this off. Let's start with our rainbow. Okay. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And I don't want it to block Earth. So how can I try and fix that? So check this out. I'm going to zoom in and I obviously can't see what's back there. So if I wanted to use my like eraser tool, I have to kind of guess what's back there. Well, that's not going to work, right? So check it out. If you go to opacity over here in the layers window, you can turn the opacity down. See? So now you can sit here and trace out what you don't want or use the eraser tool and erase it. Okay, I'm not doing a fantastic job because I'm just kind of putzing around right now to kind of give you an idea because I'd be here all day. But you can sit here and erase that stuff. Okay, and then same thing here. Okay, take that out. So now when I crank this back up, it's pretty good. Okay, it's not perfect, obviously, because I'm not taking my time with it, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so let's move on to something a little bit more complicated. We have this fish. Now, the best thing about it is if I try to find a ball or a sneaker or a fish or a cookie, you could put it on a plain background. Okay, so watch this. Let's say I want to jump back to my search and go cookie. I type in cookie. So you can see there's a cookie on the table. There's a cookie on a napkin. There's a cookie with a hand. I just want a cookie. So you could do cookie, white background. Now, once again, it may not give you a lot of cool stuff, but look at that. So this is less things to have to trace out. Now watch this. I got my cookie and it reminds me, like, you remember The Incredibles too? He's like, yum, yum, cookie. All right. So let's shrink this down a bit. I got my cookie and I'm going to drag it over. And there's my cookie. Okay. So this is going to be a lot easier to take it out of the background. Does anybody know what tool that I would want to use?
The lasso.
Lasso is one of them, but if you have this whole background that you want to get rid of stuff, there's a tool.
The background erase one. You go into the erase button and use the background eraser.
You could do that. Yep, you could do the background eraser tool. So you could sit here and trace it all out, and it'll figure it all. Hold on. No, I don't want that. See, so it'll start to learn what's the background and what's the foreground. See what it's doing? Okay. But
me personally, I don't use that. I either use the eraser or the other one.
So watch this. Yeah, I'll tell you what I would use, because I have this perfectly white background, the magic wand, because it really is magical. So if you notice, okay, there is a tolerance, it's called. So let's say I want to get just this yellow part and I click on it it's at 20. It goes from 0 to 100%. I click here, see how it didn't get all of it? What I can do is I can turn my tolerance. Now watch this, 40, I doubled it. See how it's starting to grab more? Let me turn it up to 60. Now it's got almost the whole thing. If you hold the shift key down, guess what? You can add to it. But look what happened. It took part of the cookie. So let's cut this back to 20 to 30. Okay. It's all about learning and you'll figure it out after a while. Here's 30. I'm going to hold shift. And I got most of that chip, right? Or that M&M. Now watch, let's say I want a couple more M&Ms. Or, I'm sorry, a couple more like that. I could just go like this and make as many as I want. See what I mean? Just by holding Option and Command down, it'll duplicate it.
I don't have the magic wand on mine.
You should, it's right here. Quick select and magic wand. Magic wand comes with everything. If you don't have the
Yeah.
magic wand tool, something weird's going on.
Yeah, I don't have a magic wand tool.
I'm gonna search and see if there's an issue on why that is. Because watch, if I click on this white background, it looks good, and I click, see how it got almost the whole white background? I can hold shift and keep adding to it. Now watch this. Hit delete, it's gone. Check that out. So it's a lot easier to do using the magic wand. Now, Steven said the lasso tool that he could use, or the polygon lasso, you could sit here with the lasso tool and like trace all this out like this, but it takes time. And then you circle what you don't want and you hit delete. See what I mean? You can also use the eraser tool, and you could go like this and get rid of the background too. Okay. So the nice thing about using Photoshop, there's more than one way to accomplish a task. You know what I mean? So you can use that and just get rid of the background. Now, obviously I'm cutting into the image and stuff, but if I wanted to do a really good job, I would zoom in. And I highly recommend you zoom in. You want to be like here, because if you go and let's start all the way back here, I go and erase all this stuff and I think I do an awesome job. Okay. There's obviously, if I'm too far back, you may not get everything. Watch, I'll get this part and be like, oh, this looks pretty good, right? I think I got most of it. But when you zoom in, look at that. I missed this whole part right here. So please make sure you're zooming in and getting everything you need to get out of it. So once you start,
the whole cookie.
that's right. So now I'm starting to get hungry for cookies. But once you start to kind of figure out what tools work best, it's going to help you in the long run. There's a cool one, the magnetic lasso tool, where you can go in and click here and see how it follows it. It'll trace all the way around. Whoop, let's see, I get a little screwed up because I'm trying to go too fast. But see what I did? So.
But the magic wand seems so much faster.
It is faster, but watch, guess what? It's not gonna work here. Okay, and I'll show you why. Because the colors are so similar on here, you're not gonna be able to use, watch what happens. So here's my magic wand, right? 30. It's not getting a lot. Let's turn it up, okay? We'll turn it up to 60. Watch what happens. I click, look what it did. It took too much of the tiger, right? So the magic wand only works really well if there's a red ball on green grass. You know what I mean? So this is where now you have to be creative and say to yourself, okay, how am I going to do this? I'm going to use my lasso tool and I'm going to start to trace them out. Okay. And I'm, like I said, I'm just, whoops. I'm just going really quick and tracing him out. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the background. See what I mean? So if I had spent more time, then you could go in and use the eraser tool and really start to kind of go in and trace them out. Okay. Obviously, I would zoom in, make my brushes smaller. You know,
That's exactly what I did.
yeah. So it's the thing is, it's different. Everybody can do it differently. And there's nothing wrong with that. You use what works for you. Now, when we come back here next year, there is a very specific tool that is used in industry, okay, that you're going to be expected to use if you want to kind of get a job working, doing Photoshop. And I actually had a job for years at an internet company, and all I did was this stuff. I traced out products and put them on white backgrounds so they could put them in advertisements. But that's what I did. And it got really boring after a while. But you just got to take your time and get rid of, you know, take out your background, and you're ready to go. Now, this tool that I'm talking about, that is like the industry standard, it's called the pen tool. Most people hate the pen tool, but this is the industry standard. So you go down here to the pen, it gets a little goofy to get used to. You click, and then when you go to the next point, you click and you hold and you drag it. And you actually sit here and trace out your object. Okay. And the beauty of it is you can go back and infinitely adjust it. So I can click all the way over here and click on these little control points. You know, now why would you want to do this? Well, what if you have to go back and make some adjustments to the cookie? Or a year from now, someone's like, oh man, I need that cookie again. I was working on a project. I need a photo of that cookie to put on another background. Well, this tool will actually save this path that I'm drawing right now. So you'll only ever have to trace something out once, which is awesome. Okay. And the cool thing too is if I don't like this, I can go back over here, right? And click on it. And I can even go here and readjust it again. That's kind of the cool part about this program, is that it's infinitely adjustable and you can always go back and adjust it. So now, once again, this is where I started. This is where you finish. So watch this. I zoom out. I have this thing called a path. I can turn it on and activate it. And now I can get rid of the background. Okay. And there it goes. And it looks awesome. Now, we're not even going to do the pen tool because it's so kind of goofy to get used to. So I'm giving you the basic tools to do what you need to get done. So also, make sure, like I said, go in, you know, work with the sizes. Here's the fish. Get the background out of here. Let's put it on 20. Okay. Not bad. But look, see, it's jaggedy around here. Well, why not go into your eraser tool and clean it up? As you can. See? Okay. You can even right click and see where it says hardness. You can do half and watch, it softens it. See how nice and soft the edge is? You can go and adjust that, okay, by making it not look like it's cut out with a pair of scissors. Ta-da. Okay. So now all said and done, this was my final piece that I came up with. And all I did was I had to make sure that I had things, you know, where I wanted them. I had all my layers adjusted. This was here. Then I moved it to here. And then this was here. So you move everything around the way that you want it to get your final piece. Okay. But like I said, have a reason why you picked the images that you picked. You don't want to just throw a bunch of random goofy stuff on a background. Sometimes people do these because they have hidden meaning behind them. You could take one of your favorite songs and do animate it with a surreal portrait, the sound lyrics. If it's a crazy song with a bunch of words, you know, that don't make sense, make this a real picture out of that. You could, you know, once again, fish don't fly in outer space. You can make big fish, little fish, make giant fish, hide behind a rainbow. The Statue of Liberty obviously is not this small in real life. You could have the Statue of Liberty riding on the back of the tiger. So it's really just a matter of what is in your imagination and what you want to try and accomplish. And that's really it. Now, I really didn't go into detail about this stuff. All you need to do is, like I said again, go back into my page, not with the cookie, and go to the project, clock period 4. Scroll to the bottom. And then here's all my tutorials on that same project, okay? So that's everything you need to do. Please try and get this done sooner than later. More work is coming. The end of the year is coming. Please try and put yourself in a really good position to get this stuff done. I don't want people calling me up 2 weeks before the end of school year. What do I have to do to pass? Try to be proactive. Go on your grades page, take a look, see what you need to get done. I will still give you credit for work that you did not hand in, okay? And I will give it and put it towards your 4th marking period grade. So now is the time, people. Start getting your work done so you can kind of just, enjoy the last few weeks and get some work done and be confident that you're going to pass. And then Steve, I'll see you on Friday, man. I'll see you tomorrow. You'll be working in class.
Yep. See you, Mr. M.
All right, cool. Does anybody else have questions, comments? I'm always available during.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So watch these tutorials. You'll be good to go. But that is it for today. So next week we'll start talking about more stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for showing up today.